Hello and thanks for joining us on the FCT Call Center, a program where we bring to you the activities of the secretariats, the departments and the agencies of the Federal Capital Territory Administration. This program is also designed to engage the citizens whereby they participate in the activities of governance, and this is done via feedback mechanism, phone calls. And this program also brings to you day-to-day activities of the Federal Capital Territory Administration. Today on the FCT Call Center, we have from the department that reforms and coordinate all the activities of the SDAs of the FCT, and we have our own very goldfish that has no hiding place, the coordinator of the program and the director of the Department of Reform Coordination and Service Improvement, Dr. Jumai Amadu. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
for joining
much,
us
my
on
sister
today's
Helena,
edition
for having me. Thank you
of
very
the
much.
FCT Call Center.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here with you today.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
You can watch the FCT Call Center on DSTV channel 392. We're on Star Times TV channel 127 and on Free TV channel 507. You can also listen to the FCT Call Center on ASU Radio 93.5 FM, Abuja. Stay with us. We'll be back after this time out.
We were warned about this marriage. Because we did not listen, the young maiden is dead.
Nana, come here. Hi. Why do you speak so freely with a stranger from Ajani?
We were just talking about offering Ojigijag a seat on the council.
The gods be praised.
Negodo Nselko Sisi, he has 2 wives. So why are you making it look like it is a big deal?
This is the FCT Call Center on ASU Radio and Television Services. Today, we'll be speaking with the Director of the Department of Reform Coordination and Service Improvement, Dr. Jumai Amadu. Please tell us the achievements of the department, of the RCSI department in 2024 and our expectations for 2025.
Thank you very much. Basically, what we focused on last year was capacity building, and to see that we bring to life a very special leadership enhancement program that the federal government approved for civil servants in 2001. That's Leadership Enhancement and Development Program. FCTA could not participate because we are not on the core stream of the federal civil service. We made efforts then to be part of it, but our staff were not able to register completely. So we've been pursuing it to ensure that our staff, FCT, their capacities are built so that the leadership gaps we are having in terms of service delivery, we're able to groom officers that will take over from the current crop of leaders and also become the future permanent secretaries, directors, and heads of agencies in FCTA. Then graciously, the minister approved it. So that has kept us busy since last year. We are at the final stage of that processes now. So this program is one of the pillar of the Federal Civil Service Strategy and Implementation Plan. There's a talent management, part of where the LEAD P falls under. And the LEAD P is a unique program that is designed to recruit leadership within the system. So it has 3 stages. The first stage is for them to go online and fill a Google form for level 10 to level 14, so long as you have up to 10 years in service. Because government will not want to spend so much money in training somebody, then in less than 5 years you are gone. So those are the regulations. You have to be level 10 to 14 and you have at least 10 years in service. So we threw out the forms out to our MDs and almost 1,000 applied. So the first stage was the CBT test. And as our staff performed wonderfully well, but out of the 975 that we had, about 420 scaled through because there was a cutoff mark that was given. So the 420 that scaled through, we have conducted the second phase of the CBT test for them. Now we've thrown the number down to 225. So 225, they are going to face a panel of interviewers that will consist of our permanent secretaries and some experienced directors in the system, because the target is to recruit 100 every year and take them through 6 months training program, intensive leadership training program that we're going to have in our training center, because the minister has also directed that we should, as much as we can, conduct our training in-house, and the head of service and the permanent secretary, common services, they are working around the clock to ensure that FCT Establishment Training Center is of optimal functionality level, so that we'll be having these trainings there. So after the process is completed, we'll be having trainings in the training center and occasionally at the Civil Service Training Center, PSI, along Kubwa Road. Institute along Kubwa Road. Okay. And beyond the training in the centers, they are also going to go out on practical knowledge experience. Like I said, we have a transformative civil service now, where the world is moving at a very, very fast pace. And if we are not fast to run along, we'll find ourselves behind. So that is why we are trying to ensure that our civil servants are also updated, and this is going to expose them to how things are done outside the core civil service, for them to get some knowledge. That is what has kept us busy. We've been doing that, and to God be the glory, we are moving as fast as we can to ensure that we meet the deadline of ensuring that the first crop of our elite civil servants, 100 of them, graduate this year by God's grace.
Okay. Okay. Now, as a tradition of the program, please, I would have asked you, that should have been our first question, but please tell us the mandate of the department.
Thank you very much. I've been here several, and I've mentioned the mandate. Our mandate basically is to ensure that in FCT we domesticate all the federal government reform initiative, and we also initiate our own reform programs. And we also see where there are service gap, we troubleshoot and bring the management attention to where we are having service gap, and also initiate to ensure that whatever we are doing are done in an innovative way, which is why we also have innovation division that has been charged with this regular and periodic innovation competition, where we bring our staff together for them to tell us innovative ways that things can be done right. We've held the first competitions, we have winners, and it will interest you to know that one of our winners at the last innovative competition, his idea is what we are seeing facility maintenance implementing by these solar street lights we are having. That is part of what he recommended, and I'm glad. And whenever he calls me, you could feel this excitement in his voice that an idea that he has is what government is using, and is saving government some resources, because solar is working. There are some other components of his idea that has not been properly integrated yet, but is a work in progress. And we are always calling on our civil servants to always bring up your idea, because people in their respective offices are thinking outside the box to see how things can be done properly.
Okay, now let's look at how the department ensures collaboration and synergy within the various secretariats, the departments and agencies of the Federal Capital Territory.
In a simple term, the way we do that is, it could look ordinary, but that has really worked a lot. What we do to ensure that we are in touch with all of the departments, we have a group, a WhatsApp group, we call it the Management Service Delivery Platform. Any issue that has to do with any department, we drop it on that platform. And like I always said with pride, our head of SDAs, they are always alive to their responsibility. We drop complaints, concern from residents on that group. Even if they don't get back to us, we get feedback from residents that this concern has been addressed. And also follow up with the reform initiative that has to be stepped down in FCT for the respective departments. So far, everything has been going on well. But like I always said also, change is difficult for people to wholeheartedly embrace it. Those are the challenges we're having, but with time, everybody will see the need to just think of how we can do things as the world is doing them, to ensure that we deliver services seamless in an efficient manner, that people will be happy that things are done rightly.
Okay. Now let's look at some of these reform initiatives you have talked about. What methods as a department employed to monitor and evaluate the progress and impact of the reform initiative you have talked about?
So like the department, we have our desk officers in all of the SDAs. And the one that recently reported to the Bureau of Public Service Reform is what the Department of Road Transport Services are currently doing. Residents are testifying to that. Even if you're not in Abuja, even if you're not in Nigeria, and you have your plate number, if your plate number is going to expire, you get notification from them, and in the comfort of your home, you can do that. So we've been following up with that particular initiative that I think is even the first in Nigeria that people can be in their houses and register. So we follow up with that. Wherever there are challenges, we've not even had any challenges because their officers are also alive to their responsibility. They ensure that this app is working very well. So if you're in your house now, you can go to service.fct.reg and you can get your vehicles registered. So that is what is happening. And also we have the land reform that is ongoing. In the past, people are not responsible enough to pay their grand rent, and the current director of land, with the directive of the minister, they are doing everything to ensure that things are done differently. And they're also working towards seeing how they can automate this process so that you can also, in the comfort of your home, start a process, because not everything as it is today can go digitally yet, but they are trying to ensure how they can reduce the physical presence of people in the department. So there is land reform going on, and people are testifying to that in the sense that all the records are going to be uploaded. The minister has been ensuring that people have information of what they need to do. If you're in grant rate, you do it, because one development, we also need to pay some, well, we also need to be able to pay our bills so that government will use these resources to carry out this developmental project that we are witnessing in Abuja currently. That is where we are for the follow-up that we are doing. And some other departments, our secondary education board as well, they are doing this innovative expo for entrepreneurship program for students. It's also an initiative that they sat down and realized that alone they cannot achieve what they set out to achieve. So they are working with the Brunei University in UK, and our students are doing very well. The department is also trying as much as possible to see how this can be replicated. Even some states in North Central can come and learn from what they are doing. So we monitor what they are doing. We report them on our platform for people to also know that things are working as it should in FCT.
Okay. Now, in citizens' engagement, feedback mechanism is very critical in citizens' engagement. Now, how does the department ensure that feedbacks are not just collected, but is acted upon proactively to drive significant service improvement and to also increase resident satisfaction?
I think I mentioned that earlier. What we do again, we have officers that are on this engagement platform 247. What they do, if there are any concern that cannot wait, it will be dropped on the WhatsApp platform, and as soon as actions are taken, we upload those that we got the feedback from the department. And where they don't respond to us, some citizens are kind enough to send us feedback that they are grateful this particular complaint of theirs was addressed. So we monitor regularly to ensure that it's not just like you said, harvesting without getting response or solution to their complaint, which is always call on residents to see this as a collaborative relationship. We need information from them to be able to pass to our departments who are supposed to act, and they will act accordingly. Recently, we did a survey within our department and realized that the Abuja Environmental Protection Board, the FCT Fire Service, and also about 3 departments, they came top in the survey that we sent out. These are the mechanisms that we have to check if people are getting feedback, if they are getting results, if they are getting solutions to their problem. We also have an internal mechanism to check. So we send out survey periodically to ask them. And we have a process in the office. We get these memos, complaints from residents. The ones that cannot wait, we send immediately. even after sending immediately, we also have formal memo that we send to departments. Okay. So for us to track, to ensure that we send this to you, have you responded? We have officers that are designated to our SDAs to follow up on these memos. It's also part of the reward we give them during our staff annual reward ceremony. The most responsive SDAs will also give them award to encourage others to also live up to their responsibility, because you cannot serve people in isolation to what they want you to do to make them have a better life.
Okay. You're watching and listening to the FCT call center on ASO Radio and Television Services. Today on the program, we are discussing with the Director of the Department of Reform, Coordination and Service Improvement, Dr. Jumai Amadu. Stay with us. We'll be back after this short break.
We were warned about this marriage. Because we did not listen, a young maiden is dead.
Nana!
The challenge of Nigeria as a free state in 20th century Africa is the need to revive the stature of man in Africa and restore the dignity of man in the world. Nigerians believe passionately in the fundamental human rights. We regard all races of the human family as equal. Under no circumstance shall we accept the idea that the black race is inferior to any other race. I appeal to all our leaders, far and near, to forget the wounds which were inflicted in cause of our internecine altercation. The love of our country should outweigh the love of our petty selves. The enjoyment of individual freedom under the law should mean more to us than our self-centered party programs and manifestos. Common dangers and common enemies alert us on the need for common security. Come and join Abubakar with me, Sadauna, Awolowo, Akitola, Osarebe, Okpara, Ikoku, Aminu Kano, Ibrahim Imam, and Saka. Let us bind the nation's wound and let us heal the breaches of the past, so that in forging our nation, there shall emerge on this continent a hate-free, fear-free, and greed-free people who shall be in the vanguard of a world task force whose assignment is not only to revive the stature of man in Africa, but to restore the dignity of man in the world.
Our first efforts at democracy and self-government were abruptly arrested in the mid-60s, largely as a result of the incongenial atmosphere engendered by the uncompromising stance adopted by the political parties of the First Republic. Thus, opportunities were lost for our people to interact and learn to accommodate different points of view for the betterment of the country. We must not allow that episode to repeat itself. The new system that will have adopted presents us with yet another opportunity to achieve national integration, which is a prerequisite for the building of a strong and virile nation.
Mr. President, last Saturday, the country which I have the honor to represent, the Federation of Nigeria, became independent and assumed the rights and the responsibilities of a sovereign state. Today, Nigeria has been admitted into the United Nations organization and assumes still more responsibilities. I wish to make our position plain beyond any matter of doubt as regards the African continent. We in Nigeria appreciate the advantages which the size of our country and of its population give us, but we have absolutely no aggressive intentions. We shall never impose ourselves upon any other country and shall treat every African territory, big or small, as our equal, because we honestly feel that it is only on that basis of equality that peace can be maintained in our continent. We in Nigeria are a populous country. There are about 40 million of us, and our territory is relatively large. We are willing to learn before we rush into the field of international politics. But we are totally unwilling to be diverted from the ideals which we think true. That is the reason, Mr. President, why we in Nigeria shall not be found to align ourselves as a matter of routine with any particular bloc. Indeed, I hate the very idea of blocs existing at all in the United Nations. It seems to me to be a contradiction in terms. When we hear the world crying out for peace, we may receive the inspiration to deal with these intractable problems and be able really to devote all our resources to the advancement of mankind by applying those eternal truths which will inevitably persist long after we ourselves are utterly forgotten. Thank you, Mr. President.
Our first efforts at democracy and self-government were abruptly arrested in the mid-60s, largely as a result of the incongenial atmosphere engendered by the uncompromising stance adopted by the political parties of the First Republic. Thus, opportunities were lost for our people to interact and learn to accommodate different points of view for the betterment of the country. We must not allow that episode to repeat itself. The new system that will have adopted presents us with yet another opportunity to achieve national integration, which is a prerequisite for the building of a strong and virile nation.
You're watching and listening to the FCT Call Center on Nassau Radio and Television Services. Today on the program we have the Director of Reform Coordination and Service. The Acting Director, I beg your pardon, of the Department of Reform Coordination and Service Improvement of the Federal Capital Territory Administration, Dr. Jumai Ahmadu. Now, earlier you talked about the LEAP program. Tell us what the program is all about and what residents and staff of the FCT should expect from the program.
Thank you very much. Like I said earlier, the LEAP-P is Leadership Enhancement and Development Program, LEAP-P, and it's one of the offshoots of the Federal Civil Service Strategy and Implementation Plan that is done basically for the LEAP-P is to recruit leaders. They say leadership enhancement. It means already we are all born leaders, but some certain skills has to be impacted in us to become a good leaders. And if you observe currently in the service generally, there is a gap, there is a drought in performance. People no longer take their work seriously. Their expectations as they come to the service is different from what the generation after us had when they were coming. Objective is come and serve, because as our name connotes, we are civil servants. It means if you are not a civil servant, you are busy with your private businesses, but your tax is keeping me there to ensure that you have the best of service from government. For example, your bin should not be overflowing in your house. If you go to the hospital, you should get the best of service. Your water should be running, which is why we are called civil servants. Not that we are servants as in slaves, but we are there to help. And people no longer have these values when they come to work. They see themselves as the lord of the citizens that they are supposed to be there to serve because the person is busy. So government recognized this gap and said there should be a deliberate effort to ensure that people know why they are in service. And this, you cannot train everybody. Like in FCT, we're over 30,000 staff, but that cannot be done for all the 30,000 staff. But we can start by recruiting every year 100 from across board, because this leap is not limited to administrative officers only. Engineers did very well, doctors are there, nurses, everybody, teachers are there. The aim is to ensure that you have this crop of civil servants that tomorrow anybody can call them on any subject that has to do with service delivery and leadership, and they'll be able to excellently perform, which is why FCTA, fortunately with the minister's approval and the current head of service and the permanent secretary common service, they saw the need for us to push again, and we're lucky we got the approval. We started the process, like I stated, in September last year, and we are at the final stage of getting the best 100 from the entire 900 that will undergo this training. The last stage now is the oral interview. They are going to face a panel to tell them what they want to do different from what they are doing. And if these 100 are trained, they'll still remain in their respective departments, except when the service or there's a need for them to move temporarily to go and solve problems. And like I said, you could be an engineer, but because of the way your capacity would have been built, you can even solve problems in lands department, problems in even ASO radio, problems in ages, problems in development control, because you know what to do to be able to address certain problems. They'll become our elite crop of civil servants. Like I said, they will be the first, but every year 100 is going to be recruited, trained, and they are not expected to just take this training and remain in their offices. There will also be our resource persons
train the
trainer. If there's any technical issues to be addressed, they will become resource persons, and they'll be able to do that. What is the end result? Is for us to have a transformative civil service, innovative way of delivering service in a way that is in line with how fast the world is going. Gone are those days that we rely on paper. Very soon we are going to go paperless. Very soon performance management is what we are going to use to get our promotions. Because if you have your job description and you don't act and you're evaluated and you are found to have met your description, it means you cannot get promoted. Not the traditional way of waiting. Apart from like garbage in, garbage out. If your supervisor likes you, could you fill your app? I will just sign it for you. But that is not going to be the case going forward. People will be evaluated based on their performance. If you don't do well, you're not going to be sacked immediately. You'll be given the opportunity via training to improve on yourself. It's when you have refused to be helped that then the sledgehammer is going to be extended to you. So the LIPI program is one of the programs that, for me, beyond the infrastructural development we are seeing the minister carrying out so vigorously and aggressively, he's also focusing on human capital development through this LIPI. And the Office of the Head of Service is also ensuring that people are trained periodically, and they are focusing on using the in-house resources for this training to cut costs. And for the LIPI also, I forgot to mention that our retired directors are the ones that we are going to use as our resource persons, because nobody can tell you more than an individual that has passed through a process. When they were in the office, they were not saying things the way they are saying it now that they are outside. So we have been able to identify a number of them that were passionate while in service to come and see how they can talk to this younger generation,
Gen Z generation.
That will be our tomorrow's leader, from an informed and experienced perspective, not consultants. Consultants are good, but they cannot tell you more than the person that has passed through the process. Just imagine that will bring maybe your former MD from us to come and talk to them about communication skills, public relations. We will talk to them from his experience. So we are going to focus more on our retired directors. And the minister also approved that we should be engaging them periodically. So we have them on a WhatsApp group that every day we keep them updated on what is happening regarding this process. And whenever we need them, we bring them also to come and see how they can talk to our staff.
Okay. Now, finally, before we go, your final thoughts.
My final thought is to call on residents.
To the residents and staff of the Federal Capital
Is to call on residents as usual, take advantage of the unique opportunity that we have now. Anywhere you turn to in Abuja, you could see a project coming up. It has never happened before. After I started working, Kotungura was our minister. He was not an office minister. And that is what I'm also saying this current minister. He hardly stay in the office. He's outside, ensuring that, like he told the contractors, I will pay your money, you now owe me. And if you don't comply, if you don't live up to expectation, you have me to contend with. That he has shown to be a project, Mr. Project that they call him. He has demonstrated that in Abuja. To have about 19 projects being commissioned in the next few days. Even within 1 year, 19 projects have been completed. So if you add them to the 9 that were commissioned last year, is a lot. It's never happened before. So let's give him that he has done that. And from what is happening now, beyond project, like I said earlier, capacities of staff are being built to complement this project, because if you build project without developing capacity of those that will maintain this project, there will be a problem, which is what is recognized, and this LEAP program is happening. So residents should take advantage of this. Most importantly, we should also be responsible to maintain these things very well, because the minister and FCTA staff will not be every place at the same time to see what is happening. If you see a street light not functioning, call the call center, which is why this program is also here. We'll take the message to who is supposed to act, and they are always acting. And for FCTA staff, change is a constant thing that we always face. So let's embrace it, work in a very innovative way to ensure that we deliver our services efficiently and effectively to the good of all residents, because we are here to serve, like I always said. Thank you very much.
That's the size of our package today on the program, the FCT Call Center. Thank you very much, the Acting Director of the Reform Coordination and Service Improvement Department, Dr. Jumai Amadu, for coming on today's edition of the FCT Call Center. Now, before I go, the department recently organized a party, a kind of annual celebration to celebrate staff who have put in one way or the other to improve the services of the department and the Federal Capital Territory Administration. In fact, they say all work and no play makes Hulina and Jack dull. So I'll leave you with this wonderful party put together.
So what we do is to bring families of our staff together, let them come and wine and dine with their, either your mother or your father, and you meet with the other staff of the department, because we try as much as possible to work as family, so that people will come connected. That way you have a seamless way of operating in the office. That is why we do this every year. We call it meet and greet.
Meet and greet. In fact, it was fun, packed full of fun. So I'll leave you with the party, and do join us next week for another edition of the FCT Call Center. I am Hulina Adojo.
It was a day of celebration, laughter and connection as the FCTA Department of Reform Coordination and Service Improvement held its annual staff and family bonding party in Abuja. The event, which has become a tradition within the department, brought together staff and their loved ones in a relaxed atmosphere, providing an opportunity to socialize, share meals and strengthen relationships away from the pressures of work. Acting Director of the department, Dr. Jumai Amadu, said the essence of the annual gathering is to boost staff morale, encourage healthy interactions, and ultimately enhance productivity across board.
Beyond your immediate family, you spend more time with your staff in the office. But those periods are always very uptight period where everybody is serious, trying to accomplish tasks. But here it's for us to just unwind. So every year we look forward to it. And we thank God for the opportunity for keeping us alive. We are also thanking God for that. for giving us the wisdom and knowledge to serve people. We're also thankful for that. And also to appreciate all our family members.
Staff who spoke to ASO Radio and Television expressed appreciation to the leadership of the department, noting that the initiative has greatly improved teamwork and created a more friendly work environment.
Our director, Dr. Jumai Amadou, this is a picnic. So he said that we should come out to celebrate and should be happy. In fact, we thank God for this year. In fact, it's a very good thing that she used to do to us. This is not the first year. She has been doing it to us. And we so much appreciate it. We are just like family in the office. We love ourselves. We don't hate each other. And the way he trained us, that is how we are so happy.
The director of the Reform Coordination on Service Improvement Department, the person of Dr. Jume Amadou, she has a habit that at every point in time, at a particular period of the year, she'll call the staff together to unwind, to sit together, enjoy, to ease stress of work. And that has been a lot of work. It has been a lot of things that ease stress. Most time when we, after the event like this, we get renewed, we get rejigged to do more work.
One young family member who has consistently attended the event over the past 5 years described the experience as fun and memorable.
It feels lively, it feels enjoyable, it's entertaining.
With music, games, and an atmosphere of dance and friendly competitions, the 2025 edition of Staff and Family Bonding Exercise once again reinforced the department's commitment to reform through internal cohesion and collective well-being. Usman Katun Umar, ASO Television News.